You meet her at a cafe near the Pantheon. She's ordering an espresso standing at the bar like it's the most natural thing in the world, and you're still figuring out that you're not supposed to sit down if you want to pay the cheaper price. She catches you staring at the menu, confused, and laughs. Not at you, exactly. With you, but also a little at you. 3 weeks later, you're standing outside her apartment building with a bouquet of flowers you agonized over for 20 minutes, and you don't realize yet that you're not just dating a woman. You're auditioning for an entire family, an entire neighborhood, and possibly her nana. The first date sets the tone immediately. You suggest something casual, maybe drinks. She shows up dressed like she's attending a gala. You're in jeans and a t-shirt. She doesn't say anything, but you can feel her taking inventory. You learn later that showing up looking put together isn't vanity here, it's respect. A concept called fair bella figura, making a good impression. You spend the rest of the night wondering if your sneakers gave you away as an amateur. She's warm, but she's not easy. You go in for a second date thinking you're smooth, but she keeps things light, keeps you guessing. A friend who's lived in Rome for years tells you Roman women don't do casual the way you're used to. There's no ambiguous talking stage that drags on for months. Either this is going somewhere or it's not, and she'll decide that a lot faster than you will. You find this terrifying and also weirdly refreshing. The compliments you're used to giving don't land the way they used to. You tell her she looks nice. She looks at you like you just described a sandwich. You learn that Italian romantic language runs hotter than what you grew up with. Nice doesn't cut it. You're going to need adjectives you haven't used since high school poetry class, and you're going to need to mean them. 3 months in, she says the words that change everything. Vieni, a pranzo domenica. Come to Sunday lunch. You think this is a simple invitation? It is not. Sunday lunch in Rome is not a meal, it's an institution, and you are being formally presented to the tribunal. You arrive at 1:30 sharp, feeling punctual. Everyone else strolls in over the next 40 minutes with zero urgency, because apparently you're the only one who read the invitation as a hard start time. Her mother greets you with a kiss on each cheek, and a look that says she's already forming an opinion. Her father shakes your hand a beat too long. Her grandmother doesn't say much, just watches you eat, which you quickly realize is the real test. The meal begins and does not stop. Antipasti first, then a pasta course, then a meat course, then a vegetable side, then cheese, then fruit, then dessert, then coffee. Then another round of coffee because apparently the first one was just a warm-up. You try to pace yourself. Her mother refills your plate before you've made a dent in it. You say you're full. Nobody acknowledges this. You learn that sono pieno is not a sentence that has any power in this house. 3 hours pass. You haven't looked at your phone once. Nobody has. This alone unsettles you more than anything else that's happened all day. Her grandmother finally speaks directly to you, asking through her daughter's translation whether your mother taught you to cook. You say, not really. The table goes quiet for half a second. You realize you just failed a question you didn't know was being graded. The relationship moves fast after that lunch, faster than you expected. There's no drawn-out exclusivity conversation, no defining the relationship talk that takes 6 weeks to have. One night she just says you're together now, like she's reading you the weather. You didn't propose this. You didn't even see it coming. But somehow it feels settled, and you go along with it because arguing seems pointless, and also because you're relieved someone finally made the decision for you. Her friends become a fixture almost immediately. You're used to keeping your girlfriend and your friend group in separate lanes. Here, there are no lanes. Her best friend since childhood shows up uninvited to what you thought was a date night, and nobody blinks. You learn that in Rome, friendships aren't casual add-ons to a relationship, they're load-bearing walls. If her friends don't like you, that's a structural problem, not a footnote. You get your first real glimpse of her jealousy when a woman from your office texts you during dinner and you laugh at something on your screen. She doesn't yell. She goes quiet, which is somehow worse. You spend the next 20 minutes over-explaining a work joke about a spreadsheet. You learn that possessiveness here isn't hidden or apologized for. It's worn openly, and you're expected to reassure, not roll your eyes. The apartment situation becomes its own education. She keeps the shutters closed against the afternoon heat and thinks your instinct to blast the air conditioning is borderline offensive. You want a quick weekday dinner. She wants to cook for 2 hours and considers a jarred sauce a personal insult to her ancestors. You suggest ordering in on a Tuesday. She looks at you the way her mother looked at you over that first lunch. Riposo becomes a real point of friction. You're used to running errands straight through the afternoon. In Rome, entire streets go quiet between 1 and 4. Shops pull down their shutters. And if you didn't get your errand done by 12:45, it's not happening until later. You show up at a shop at 2 p.m. once, confidently, and stand in front of a locked metal grate for a full minute before it clicks. You've been humbled by a nap schedule. Meeting her extended family multiplies everything you thought you understood. Aunts, uncles, second cousins, a family friend who's basically an aunt but isn't technically related to anyone, all show up to what you thought was a small gathering. Someone asks what your intentions are, not subtly, in front of everyone. Her father makes a joke about you that you don't fully catch because it's fast and in dialect. But everyone laughs, so you laugh too, and hope it wasn't about you. The fights, when they come, are loud. Not cold, not passive-aggressive, loud. Voices rise in the kitchen over something small, whose turn it was to call the electrician, and you brace for the relationship to end right there, on a Tuesday night. Then 20 minutes later, she's laughing at something on her phone and asking if you want coffee, like nothing happened. You learn that volume here doesn't mean crisis. It just means she cares enough to say it out loud instead of burying it. You start noticing the small shifts in yourself. You stand at the coffee bar now instead of sitting. You order a macchiato instead of a cappuccino after noon, without thinking twice. You've started using your hands when you talk, and you didn't decide to do that. It just happened somewhere along the way. Your college roommate video calls you and says you sound different, more animated. You didn't realize it was showing. Her mother starts including you without asking, setting a plate for you before you've confirmed you're staying, assuming you'll be there for Sunday lunch the way she assumes the sun will rise. You realize this is the actual sign of acceptance here. It was never going to be a formal announcement. It was always going to be an extra plate, quietly appearing at the table. Aperitivo becomes a ritual you didn't know you needed. Around 7, you find a spot with a good spritz and a table of little plates that arrive without being asked, and the evening slows down on purpose. Back home, happy hour was something you rushed through between work and the rest of your night. Here, it's the whole point of the evening, a scheduled pause built into the day, and you stop checking your phone during it without meaning to. A year in, you find yourself standing on her balcony at golden hour, watching the light hit the rooftops. The whole city seems to turn orange for 20 minutes every evening, and she leans against you without saying anything. You think about how differently you approach conflict now, how you've learned to sit with 3-hour meals instead of checking the clock, how you stopped being embarrassed by public affection somewhere around month 4. None of this is what you expected when you agreed to one drink near the Pantheon. She asks what you're thinking about. You almost say nothing, out of habit, the old instinct to keep things light and undefined. Instead, you tell her the truth, that you used to think dating was about finding someone easy, someone who required no adjustment at all. Now you think it's supposed to require adjustment, that the friction is the part that actually means something. She doesn't say anything profound back. She just takes your hand and says it's almost time for dinner, and somehow that's exactly the right response. You've stopped counting the ways your life has changed. You just live inside them now. The long lunches, the loud arguments that clear fast, the extra plate at the table, the sound of your own voice a little more animated than it used to be. You didn't plan on any of it. You just said yes to a coffee, and somewhere between the espresso bar and the Sunday table, you became someone who belongs here, or close enough to it that nobody bothers correcting you anymore.